Order level and demand analysis in supply chain operations. In this lesson, we will solve real-world order level and demand analysis problems using Python. These types of problems help businesses manage inventory, fulfill customer needs, and improve supply chain efficiency. Understanding demand patterns and order behaviors prevents stockouts and helps plan future operations. By the end, you will be able to analyze real datasets, spot demand trends, and extract essential supply chain metrics. Running the cell now. We import pandas for handling order and demand data. We import NumPy for numerical operations in analytics tasks. We import OpenML to directly load public supply chain datasets for analysis. We import warnings to manage warning messages during analysis. Suppressing warnings helps keep our output clean and focused. Running the cell now. Data concepts in order and demand analysis. Supply chain datasets often record every order or line item, including date, product, quantity, and customer. Retail demand data tracks what was sold, when, and to whom. Operations datasets may include lead times, supplier info, or delivery performance. Beginners sometimes forget to check date consistency or misinterpret demand quantities. Aggregating at the wrong level, such as mixing daily and monthly orders, is a common mistake. Clean, consistent timestamps and correct units are critical for good analysis. Running the cell now. Beginner example 1, loading retail demand data. Let us explore a real-world online retail transactions dataset. We will look at the first few order records to see how demand data is organized. Running the cell now. We specify the URL for the real online retail demand dataset from UCI. We load the dataset for the year 2010 to 2011 into a data frame. We convert the invoice date column to date-time format for date analysis. We print the dataset shape to see rows and columns. We display the first 3 transactions to preview the data. Running the cell now. This output shows that the dataset contains over 540,000 rows and 8 columns, indicating a large number of retail transactions. The first 3 rows reveal key columns like invoice, stock code, quantity, and a price, helping us understand how order details such as purchased items, their quantities, and timing are recorded. This confirms the data is well structured for analyzing retail demand patterns. Practice. What other columns would you expect in retail order data? Beginner example 2, loading manufacturing operations data. Not all supply chain analysis is retail. Here is an operations dataset from OpenML showing process-level order records. Running the cell now. We fetch the operations dataset from OpenML by its ID. We extract features and targets as pandas data frames. We merge features and targets if a target exists, making one data frame. We print how many records and fields are in the dataset. We preview the first 3 operational records. Running the cell now. Here, the code loads a manufacturing operations dataset from OpenML, resulting in 32,769 rows and 10 columns, which indicates a sizable set of process-level order records. The first few rows show numeric codes for various roles and resources instead of descriptive labels, highlighting that this raw data may need further decoding or pre-processing before analysis. This step is crucial for understanding the structure and content before performing any supply chain or operations level analysis. Think, how do manufacturing orders and retail sales data differ? Beginner example 3, counting unique orders. A basic analysis step is counting distinct orders over a period. Let us do this with the retail demand dataset. Running the cell now. We count the number of unique invoice order numbers to see order volume. We print out how many unique orders happened in the period. Running the cell now. This output shows that there are 25,900 unique orders in the dataset, which means 25,900 distinct invoices were recorded. This count helps us understand the volume of separate transactions during the analyzed period, a fundamental step in summarizing sales data. The code's intent is to demonstrate how to quickly find and interpret the number of unique entries in a column using pandas. Practice: why might counting unique orders be different from counting total rows? Intermediate example 1, daily demand time series. Real supply chains monitor demand per day. We can group sales transactions by date to generate a daily demand curve. Running the cell now. We group transactions by invoice date and sum up product quantities to get daily demand. We print the first few days' total demand values. Running the cell now. This output shows the total quantity sold each day, with dates as the index and daily demand values as counts. Notice how the code groups transactions by the date portion of the invoice date and sums the quantity, creating a clear daily demand series. This is key to understanding how sales fluctuate over time, an essential step for analyzing supply chain demand patterns. Prompt: can you plot this daily demand as a line chart using matplotlib? Watch our channel for visualizations with this data. Intermediate example 2, most demanded products. Knowing top sellers helps manage inventory and promotions. Let us find the most demanded product in our retail dataset. Running the cell now. We group sales by product description and sum the quantity sold. We then find and print the product with the highest demand. We print out the single most sold product and its total demand. Running the cell now. Here, we see the most demanded product identified by summing total quantities sold for each item and selecting the top result. Notably, World War II gliders ASSTD designs leads with 53,847 units sold, highlighting its high customer demand. This insight helps prioritize inventory and marketing efforts for best-selling products. Discuss: why might the same product have different descriptions in some datasets? Intermediate example 3, analyzing order frequency by country. Global distributors want to see which markets order most frequently. We will count orders by country in our retail dataset. Running the cell now. We group orders by the country column and count the number of unique invoices for each. We print the top countries by number of orders placed. Running the cell now. This output shows the number of unique orders placed in each country, with the United Kingdom leading significantly at 23,494 orders. Notice how the counts drop sharply after the top country, highlighting where the highest order frequencies are concentrated. This helps global distributors identify their key markets and prioritize efforts based on order volume. Practice: what could cause some countries to have 0 orders on some days? Advanced example 1, order lead time analysis, delivery dataset. Meeting promised delivery dates is critical for customer satisfaction. We will analyze order lead times using real e-commerce order and delivery data. Running the cell now. We read in the OList orders dataset containing order purchase and delivery timestamps. We parse the purchase timestamp into pandas datetime format. We parse the delivered customer date into pandas datetime format. We calculate lead time in days for each order by subtracting timestamps. We take the mean of lead time to measure average delivery performance. We print out the calculated average lead time in days. Running the cell now. This output shows the average lead time of about 12 days between order purchase and delivery in the dataset. By calculating this, we gain a key metric for assessing the efficiency of the delivery process, which directly impacts customer satisfaction. Understanding this baseline helps us evaluate whether the company meets its promised delivery dates. Prompt: what could cause negative or missing lead times in this dataset? Advanced example 2, detecting demand outliers. Sudden demand spikes could signal errors or special events. Let us flag unusually high daily demand days in the retail data. Running the cell now. We calculate the first and third quartiles of daily demand. We compute the interquartile range AQR to measure spread. We identify outlier days where demand exceeds Q3 plus 1.5 times the IQR. We select those dates with unusually high demand. We print dates that had extraordinary sales volume. We display details of these outlier days. Running the cell now. This output lists dates where the daily demand significantly exceeded the typical range, flagged using the IQR method to identify outliers. Notice these spikes may indicate data errors or special sales events, which is crucial for demand analysis and decision-making. The code effectively isolates unusually high demand days to focus further investigation on these anomalies. Discuss: how would you investigate if a demand outlier is due to a data issue or a real event? Advanced Example 3, Analyzing Demand Variability by Product. Highly variable demand skews safety stock calculations. Let us compute the standard deviation of demand by product. Running the cell now. We group sales by product and day, then some daily units. We compute the standard deviation of daily quantity per product to find demand variability. We print the 5 most volatile products in terms of daily demand. We show the calculated variability for each product. Running the cell now. This output lists the top 5 products with the highest daily demand variability, measured by the standard deviation of daily quantity sold. Notice that products with inconsistent or unusual entries like damaged and wrongly coded appear, indicating potential data quality issues that can skew safety stock calculations. This highlights the importance of identifying and possibly cleaning such anomalies before final demand analysis. Practice: why is knowing demand variability important for planners? Error handling example 1, finding missing dates. Missing sales dates can impact trends and forecasts. Let us check for missing days in the daily demand time series. Running the cell now. We generate a range of all possible days from our earliest to latest transaction. We find dates missing from the dataset's recorded sales days. We print the number of missing days for sales transactions. We list a few dates that had no sales recorded. Running the cell now. The output reveals that there are 69 missing sales days within the date range of the dataset, with the first few missing dates listed clearly. This highlights gaps in the daily demand data, which is crucial to identify because missing dates can distort trend analysis and forecasting accuracy. The code's intent was to systematically detect these gaps by comparing the expected full date range to the available sales dates. Prompt: should 0 demand days be recorded differently in our database? Error handling example 2, preventing incorrect data joins. Joining datasets on the wrong field can break analysis. Here is how to spot a mismatch in key fields. Running the cell now. We collect unique order or invoice identifiers from both the retail and delivery datasets. We collect unique order IDs from the OLIS system. We calculate the overlap between these keys, should be very small or 0. We print out the number of keys matching between the datasets. This simulates what happens when keys do not align across systems. Running the cell now. This output shows that there are 0 matching keys between the 2 datasets, indicating a complete mismatch between the invoiced field in DF and the order_ID in OLIS_DF. This highlights the importance of verifying key fields before joining, as an incorrect join field can lead to missing or misaligned data in your analysis. Prompt: what should you check before joining multiple supply chain tables? Error handling example 3, interpreting negative or null values. Sometimes data has negative quantities or lead times. Let us scan for apparent errors in our order level demand and delivery data. Running the cell now. We find rows in the retail dataset where ordered quantity is less than 0. We find orders in the e-commerce dataset where lead time is negative. We print how many records have negative order quantities. We print how many rows have impossible negative lead times. Running the cell now. The output shows that there are 10,624 rows with negative quantities but none with negative lead times in the dataset. This highlights a common data quality issue where demand values can be erroneously recorded as negative, which may need correction or further investigation. Identifying these anomalies is crucial for accurate analysis and model training. Think, what business processes might produce negative values in these contexts? Best practices: aggregate demand by time period. Consistently aggregating by day, week, or month reduces errors. Here is how to safely sum demand by month in the retail dataset. Running the cell now. We create a new month column by converting invoice dates to monthly periods. We group orders by month and sum the total quantities for each month. We print the resulting total demand for the first few months. Running the cell now. This output shows the total demand aggregated by month, with each row representing the sum of all quantities sold in that month. Notice the shape is a time series indexed by month, making it clear how demand fluctuates over time. This confirms the lesson's intent to demonstrate a reliable approach to monthly aggregation, which helps reduce errors in trend analysis and forecasting. Prompt: how might holidays affect monthly aggregation of demand? Best practices: calculating key performance indicators, KPIs. KPIs such as fill rate, lead time, and order cycle time drive better decisions. Let us compute the percent of orders delivered within 7 days. Running the cell now. We check which orders had a delivery lead time of 7 days or less. We compute the proportion as a percentage of total orders and print it. Running the cell now. This output shows that only 33.89% of orders were delivered within 7 days, highlighting a potential area for improvement in order fulfillment speed. By calculating this KPI, we get a clear, actionable metric that helps track delivery performance and inform decisions to enhance customer satisfaction. Discuss: why is this KPI useful for both customer service and warehouse planning? Mini end-to-end problem: demand spike alert. Let us solve a real scenario. Detect any week where retail demand is 50% higher than the prior week and alert operations managers. Running the cell now. We use the invoice date to create a new week column for each transaction. We sum total order quantity per week to get total weekly demand. We calculate the percent change in demand from one week to the next. We select weeks where demand growth exceeded 50% compared to the previous week. We print a list of week labels where spikes occurred to alert managers. Running the cell now. This output lists the specific weeks where retail demand increased by more than 50% compared to the previous week, highlighting potential demand spikes. Notice how the code first aggregates sales quantity by week, calculates the week-over-week percentage growth, and then filters for significant jumps. This allows operations managers to quickly identify critical periods needing attention. Practice: what actions could a supply chain manager take when receiving these alerts? For more end-to-end examples, subscribe to our YouTube channel.